Hello there everybody, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to my first review. And, well, it is my first review, what the fuck am I saying? Well, anyway, I shall be reviewing for my first set of reviews the Child's Play series, also known as the Chucky series. Starting off with the first and probably the best one, Child's Play. First of all, let's talk about the plot. You see, the plot for Child's Play is relatively easy to understand. It starts off with a strangler called Charlie Ray, who is chased down and shot by a toy store. He's shot by Detective Mike Norris, who leaves him to die, but not before he chants a voodoo spell. This allows him to transfer his soul into a good guy's soul. Meanwhile, your mother looks after 6-year-old Andy Barkley and wants to give him the best present that she could possibly afford. Luckily for her, Hobo manages to find a good guy doll, something that he really wants. As a result, she gives the good guy doll to Andy and chaos ensues. First of all, Andy's aunt is killed by being pushed through a window. Then, one of Charlie Ray's accomplices is then blown up. Everyone blames Andy for the murders, that is until they discover that Chucky might be the cause of it. After all, Andy's blaming Chucky. The only person that really believes him is his mother. She then tries to set Chucky alight, where it turns out Chucky is indeed alive. And as a result, tries to kill her. She then tries to tell Mike Norris, who ignores her advice, and he is then promptly attacked by Chucky. The two then set off to try and save Andy, as well as discover the source behind Chucky's power and why he's still alive. Why exactly he was able to transfer his soul. They discover that he learned voodoo. However, upon learning about voodoo, he discovers that he has to transfer his soul into the first person who sees him. But that's not before he kills his voodoo master. Karen and, of course, Mike Norris discover the body, and they then go off to hunt for Chucky as well as save Andy. Andy is knocked out by Chucky, who prepares to transfer his soul. But, luckily for him, Andy is saved by Karen, his mother, who comes in and sets Chucky alight. However, Chucky is still alive and stabs Mike Norris, as well as attempts to attack Karen. But Chucky is then shot multiple times before being shot in the heart, truly killing him. Or so we think, because, well, we know about the sequels, don't we? So that's for the plot. I actually quite enjoy Child's Play. It's a basic plot, mind you. It's about a killer who transfers his soul and tries to hunt down a child, and then gets shot to pieces. And it's a basic horror movie plot, I would argue. It's something that's been done before, mind you, but I have a feeling that none have really been done as well as Chucky. Let's be honest now, when you hear about many other doll or killer toy movies, you can't really think of many, and the first thing to spring to mind most of the time is Chucky. And no wonder, Chucky did it right. It did it the best way. It did it in the way that, of course, right in my opinion, did it in the correct way. It used a better plot, and it used this relatively basic plot, I should say, and it also had memorable characters. In particular, Karen I always found to be a likeable mother, a likeable character, and truly someone who's trying to look after her son. Her son himself, though he doesn't have a big role in this, he truly does set the tone as a young, scared child. One of my favourite scenes, call me a sadist or you like, is when Andy in the hospital and witnesses Chucky walking up the stairs. He then breaks down in tears and actually cries for his own life due to Chucky presumably trying to kill him. Of course, this isn't true, he just wants to transfer his soul. But seeing him in actual fear really exemplifies how innocent, how young, and how vulnerable Andy really is. And of course, it is the beginning of one of the best rivalries, in my opinion, in horror movies between Andy and Chucky. Chucky himself is, of course, a likeable bastard. He's a likeable bastard because he's got all these quirky quotes. He's a complete and utter insane little shit who won't stop at nothing until he kills everyone and everything in his pathway. He also has some quite funny lines, as I said, And one of the funniest scenes in this movie in particular, he does have funnier scenes later on, but in later movies, but one of the funniest scenes in this movie, in my opinion, was the scene involving the elevator. As the movie progresses, Chucky's visual design actually changes, which is a really great way, or great attention to detail in my opinion. It really shows how much effort and how much they wanted to make this movie work, and it really does show. And one of the best things is, as the movie goes on, Chucky gets more human-like in appearance. From being this plastic doll, he begins to become a bit more, human-like, and his eyes, sort of darken up. His skin is a bit more fleshy, and his eyebrows and hair starts, decreasing in colour. And the reason why I point this out is because in the elevator scene, this elderly couple walk into the elevator. They try going up, and simply put, they call the doll ugly. Which Chucky replies by simply saying, "Fuck you." And little things like that really make Chucky stand out in comparison to other horror movie villains. And it's one of the reasons why older horror movie villains like Freddy Krueger and Chucky are so memorable, because they had a charm to them. That's the best way of putting it. They had a charm to them, and Chucky really exemplifies that. Of all the main characters that I don't really like, I will have to say I'm not a fan of Mike Norris. The reason being is because I kind of found him a bit of a douche. Even after he discovers Chucky's identity, he still acts like he's in denial and still doesn't really help the situation, and so he acts like a prat. That said, he isn't a bad character, and you can sort of understand why he's in denial. You can also sort of understand why, in denial after he's discovered the truth. But you can sort of understand his douchey personality. But at the same time, out of all the main characters, he's the one that I'm not really keen on. Karen Barkley and Andy Barkley, of course, in my opinion, the best of the heroes out of the three, I should say. And of course, Chucky is just, he's just awesome. When it comes to music, this funny thing about Chucky movies are music in Chucky movies tend to be really good. Even Seed of Chucky and Curse of Chucky and even Bride of Chucky have really good musical scores. And this one probably has one of my favourite Chucky themes. It's this really high-pitched, orchestral choir sort of music, and it really sounds amazing in my opinion. It really sounds really chilling. It sort of sets the atmosphere and tone with the children's music as well, and it's a really good horror theme. And honestly, it's probably my favourite of all the main Chucky themes. The second being probably the Seed of Chucky and or Curse of Chucky Chucky theme, which is the sort of children's sort of sound. Yeah, I'm more for describing music. That's why I didn't do so well in music class. But honestly, it was really nice. It's a really chilling, really awesome soundtrack. In terms of setting, I must admit, when I first saw the movie, at first I didn't realise it was. I thought it was either Christmas or I thought it was actually Christmas. I didn't realise it was actually Andy's birthday. But because it's so it's snow everywhere, you see people with Christmas decorations. I thought it was Christmas, but of course it's not. And I know this is a really nitpicky thing to say, but I don't understand why they said it in the winter time. I know it's, I guess it was the weather at the time. You have to look into the statistics of the film. It was relatively low budget for the time, low budget even now. But yeah, I never really understood why it was set in a Christmas time. Why it was set in a wintry time. I don't know why it wasn't set summertime or something like that. That's nitpicking. In terms of other settings, I do like how it's a rundown area, so a crime like this would thrive, and it makes sense in my opinion, why people like Chucky would exist in this world, because it is such a shithole. You see it, up close. You see Andy on a train. Everything is, not pleasant. Everything's scruffy. Everything's poor. Everything's run down, and it sort of exemplifies the whole idea how, shit this place is, and how people like Charles Lee Ray would exist in this world. How they would end up killing other people. Why the police force are basically a bunch of assholes. It's why, Karen is, suffering, at her job, and why she's, struggling to look after Andy as a single young mother as well. Even her being a young mother sort of makes sense in this world as a result of this rundown area, because, without being too stereotypical, women in rundown areas tend to be younger when they have kids, and that sort of makes sense here. And I don't know whether that was their intention, but it does it could be their intention, considering the detail they put into this film, and that's something that I really admire, about any of the Chucky films, and that is, no matter how bad they may get, no matter how, over the top, how silly they may get, there's always this element of, they put a lot of damn effort into it. Even Seed of Chucky, they still put a lot of effort into it. They could have easily just, with the silly, childish humour, they could have, they could have just made it all CGI and made it all silly and stupid, and the puppetry, goofy as hell, but they didn't. They actually did try to make it, look proper, even with, certain things into it. But of course I won't be talking too much about Seed of Chucky now. That's later on, my friends, if you actually care about this. But on the topic of attention to detail, I actually watched this behind the scenes sort of documentary about how they made the first film, and the animatronics they used for the Chucky doll is spectacular. I absolutely love it. It could have been easy just to have a midget, dressed up, but they didn't. They went with proper animatronics, and they even said how in the film Chucky moves. He moves in this very staticky fashion. He jolts as he moves. It's very stiff, and it makes sense. And they were saying, how it's meant to be very doll-like. Even in recent film, Curse of Chucky. Chucky was still moving in a really slow and stiff fashion in this to sort of exemplify that doll-like arms and legs and limbs and all that. I've mentioned about how they intentionally made Chucky look a bit more like a human as the film progressed, and that's brilliant. And it does show how much effort and how much they really wanted this film to work. And I always have this theory that a film can be bad, it can be good, but if the people are really ambitious, are really, up for it, are really going to, bring out all this attention to detail, are really going to put all their, lives and livers on the line to make this film look as, aesthetically brilliant, then you have to admire that. You have to admire how ambitious and how, jolly and how happy they are to entertain us. And that's what makes this film work for me in some ways. It's why I like this film. It's why I like the Chucky series in general, is because they're not doing it, for simple cash grab. Not all the time. But they're doing it in a way to us. They're doing it for the viewers. They're doing it for an audience. They're doing it to entertain people. They're doing it to scare people. They're doing it just for fun. And that's something that should be admired. And that's something that, is overlooked most of the time when it comes to films. And why I honestly think this is a great film, and why I like this. That said, are there any flaws in this film? With most films nowadays, if a film has a twist, in my opinion, and in this case, the twist is Chucky dead? Is everything going to be fine? And of course, we all know that Chucky is dead. And of course, the biggest twist of all, being that Andy isn't the killer, and it was in fact the doll. And the problem with a twist like that nowadays is that people are now people will know and will expect that to happen, and it sort of loses that charm in a way, because in some aspects, the whole idea that a kid, is blaming his doll for all these mysterious murders, it could have worked, it could work as, like it really was the kid and he was just a nutbag. But I think the problem is, and the biggest problem of them all is, that because, and this is my problem with twists in movies in general, is that as soon as that happens and the twist is revealed, it kind of ruins the film in some way. It kind of, people now know what to expect. And to be fair, I do like this one. I will be willing to watch this film, again and again if need be. But at the same time, the twist, the charm of that is ruined. And to be fair, when I first watched this film, I watched this and I knew what to expect. I knew that Chucky was already known for a big famous character now. And so that also kind of ruins the thing. The fact that he became this big icon, and it sort of ruins the whole twist in a way. It ruins the story in some aspects. It ruins, the creepiness. But at the same time, if you looked at it, in an alternate way, that maybe it was in his head, it can work. I think another problem I have with this film is the acting as well can be a little bit too hammy. It can be a little bit too, not so great. And I'm saying that not targeting Andy in particular, the kid that played Andy, because honestly, as a child actor, you did a spectacular job. And honestly, I found Karen quite great, but some of the other actors, they often sound quite bored when they're speaking. They're kind of like, oh wow, there's Chucky, it's sort of this bored, monotone, no expression in some way. And don't get me wrong, it's not too, in some ways there are people out there that, if you're thinking of this on like a more realistic, down-to-earth scale, there are people out there that do sound monotone. This is going to sound crazy, but the first Chucky film is in particular is meant to be a more like realistic, look to how, if something supernatural did happen, how people would react. And what I do like about this film, I'll mention this in the sequels, but what I do like is that the consequences do have lasting effects. In a lot of horror films, consequences are just, oh, everyone's dead, but at least the main characters are alive. As long as the big bad guy's dead, everything's fine. And there's no real, consequence to the actions. There's no real consequences. And what I like about this one, is that there are consequences. There are, lasting effects. And I don't know why I'm talking about it in this review, but I should really be talking about it in the next reviews, but it does sort of suit, it does sort of make it work in some ways. It does sort of allow this film series to thrive. And I think that's probably why this series is so popular as it is because it does continue no matter what. There are consequences, there are something that's driving it forward every time. There's always something happening. It never ends. And, no matter who Chucky faces, it always comes back around again. And the idea that he can use voodoo to resurrect himself or save himself and have other accomplices along the way, it works in my opinion. So overall, when it comes to Child's Play 1, what do I really think about it? What do I think about this first film? I love it. I know it's a cheesy thing to say, but I do generally love it. I know it's a cheesy movie, I know it's got a little midget running around with a knife, but I think it's great. I mean, I still think this is the best of the Chucky films. I still think this is the only one that I can safely say is near towards perfect, and that's a generic thing to say considering it is the first film. Of course I'm going to say, oh, it's brilliant, as opposed to saying, it's complete shit and everyone should avoid it, No. But everyone should avoid it in the sequels. But no, this is a great film. I don't really do 1 out of 10 stuff, in my opinion. I don't ever do stuff like that. Instead, I tend to do things differently, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Instead, I'm going to give it sort of a percentage of how good I think this film is. And considering the praise that I gave and considering the flaws that I talked about, I'd actually give this film around an 81%. Why 81%? Why not just 80%? Well, that 1% is simply for the crying scene involving Andy Barclay. I still think that's a great scene. I still think that really shows human emotion, Something that a lot of films these days don't really do, and a lot of child actors don't do, is actually have some fucking emotion. And that's the only reason why I'm giving it 81%. And I could give it higher, but that would be too stupid, that would be silly, and plus the flaws do sort of hinder that, and like I said, the twist, the whole popularity of Chucky nowadays does kind of ruin the movie in some ways. And going back onto that topic, that does sort of make it feel like you could just avoid this movie entirely and go straight for the sequels. But at the same time, I do think if you are going to watch the Chucky films, do start with this one. Or if you're terrified of Chucky, the comedy film says, and then go on to this one. Because believe it or not, there are people out there who are still scared of this fucker. And honestly, I can understand. But, he is a doll after all. A doll that will kill you. Well, I hope you enjoyed this first review of the Chucky series. I will hopefully be doing Child's Play 2 at some point. Hopefully before Cult of Chucky. If not, then after Cult of Chucky. Depends on when I have time to set things up and actually spend a lot of my time actually reviewing a Chucky movie. But I hope you enjoy, and I hope you I hope people actually see this crap.